Well everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 14 Pro and compare it against the iPhone 14 Plus and see which particular phone is a better one for you. Now, I will definitely tell you between both these devices, there isn't really one that's, the insanely better one for every single person. The big thing you have to keep in mind is that the iPhone 14 Pro is an overall smaller phone than the iPhone 14 Plus, but there are still lots and lots of advantages for a device like the iPhone 14 Pro over the 14 Plus, and we'll talk about that throughout this whole entire video. First things first though, if you want to pick up either one of these phones, the links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside of the iPhone 14 Pro and the 14 Plus, the 14 Plus on the front had a 6.7-inch Super Retina Extra OLED display. Now, this was a pretty big panel as you could probably expect. I mean, these panels are massive. They're fairly high resolution as well. And I'm a big fan of these particular displays. There's not really, again, that much to complain about here when you're looking at the display portion of this particular device. The big thing you have to keep in mind though with these particular phones is that they're lacking ProMotion at all. So they're standard 60 Hz panels, so there's no 90 Hz panels, there's no 120 Hz panels, and those things in and of itself can be kind of a disadvantage for some people. Like if you're trying to go through and get a device that's going to be giving you a better experience, this is probably, it's going to be giving you a good experience, but you're just going to be kind of stuck in the situation where you're getting 60 Hz over and over and over again. And definitely having a ProMotion display, 120 Hz display is definitely going to be the better one for a lot of people out there. With the iPhone 14 Pro, this is a smaller 6.1-inch LTPO AMOLED, Super Retina Extra OLED display. With this one, you're getting a dynamic island display. So this one is giving you that, island at the very top versus the notch at the very top. So that right there is another very big difference. You're actually going to be getting, from my understanding, a better display on the particular iPhone 14 Pro than on the iPhone 14 Plus. On top of that though, with that dynamic island, you're getting less bezel, and it is nice having that little dynamic island thing at the very top. That's another pretty cool advantage for that type of phone as well. On top of that, with the iPhone 14 Pro, that's a 120 Hz panel as well. So this is another advantage for the iPhone 14 Pro. By giving you that type of capability, this is another really cool feature going on for that device. And personally for me, once again, if I'm going through and getting a particular phone, I like the fact that this phone has that, kind of future-proof to design of it having dynamic island and having a ProMotion display. That's definitely one of my most favorite things going on for that particular phone. On the bottom, you're getting flat sides on both. The 14 Pro is giving you this reflective, back or side to it, which is very nice. I like having that reflective side. It's a very, very nice touch. And you're also getting essentially that lightning port at the bottom, which we already talked about. On the back side, you're getting your standard glass back on the iPhone 14 Plus. With the iPhone 14 Pro, you're getting your frosted glass back. So this right there is another, I would say, kind of nice thing going on for both these phones. Having that frosted glass back is a really, really nice touch. And once again, I do think if I'm going through and getting a sort of device, I like the fact that that particular phone is giving me that frosted glass back. It's a really, really nice thing, and it's definitely one of my most favorite things, once again, going on for the iPhone 14 Pro. So definitely from the design perspective, you're getting a way better looking iPhone on the iPhone 14 Pro than on the iPhone 14 Plus. On top of that, another big thing going on here is that the price of the iPhone 14 Pro is still a little bit expensive in the used market, mostly because that phone has been out for, they've been out for the same amount of time, but the Pro did cost $100 more than the Plus, but the iPhone 14 Plus is still being sold in the brand new market. So you can go inside of the Apple Store and still buy the iPhone 14 Plus. So that might be something to keep in mind there with that particular phone too. Again, I don't think it's a big deal or anything, but that's just one of those minor things to kind of keep in mind in the back of your head. But beyond that, I think both these phones look very, very good on the outside. In terms of the camera side though, this is another very interesting thing going on here. So the iPhone 14 Plus, you're getting that dual camera setup, a 12 megapixel wide, then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. With the iPhone 14 Pro, you're getting a 48 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel telephoto, 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, and that LiDAR sensor as well. Now, the thing I like about both these phones is that you are getting 4K at 60 on the front and the back of both these devices, which again is very nice. I like being able to go through and just having those types of cameras, just, the camera quality just kind of stuck there. And I do think that in and of itself is kind of a nice thing going on for these particular phones. Like the fact that you could just go through, just plug and play and have a really nice cameras without messing around too much is really nice. And the fact that inside of both these, phones, a lot of those social media applications like Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook, the stock camera app, all of these cameras are going to be killer. They're going to be giving you a really, really good experience from that particular side as well. And I do think that in and of itself is another really nice thing going on for this particular phone. Like if I'm going through and getting a certain, device, both these phones are going to be giving me a really good experience from that particular perspective when it comes down to the whole entire, camera quality, perspective. And the audio quality is still very good too. Like if I'm going through and filming a video and I'm trying to get certain audio out of it, both these phones are going to be giving me a very good experience from that side as well. So definitely from the camera perspective, it gets a thumbs up for me. I like the camera side on both these phones, and I definitely do think if I'm going through and getting a certain device, like I said before, both these phones give me a really, really good time from the camera side. So that kind of covers it up there. Now moving on to the other side of things. When it comes down to the software longevity, like I said before, both these phones are going to be giving you a very long supported phone for the most part. It's not like one of these phones is going to be, insanely terrible or anything like that. Both these phones are going to be very, very decent when it kind of comes down to it. And I do think this in and of itself is a pretty nice thing going on for both of these devices. Now, one of these things you have to keep in mind though, is that when it does kind of come down to it, your particular device may give you, like with the 14 Pro, it might be giving you a longer experience in the software side. And the reason for this is because this one does have, a newer chipset than the iPhone 14 Plus. So that's just kind of what ended up happening with this generation of devices. I don't know, what Apple plans on doing in the future here, but I do think from what I can kind of estimate, there's probably going to be a chance where our iPhone 14 Pro is going to be giving us a longer lasting experience than the iPhone 14 Plus. So keep that in mind. It's just one of those things to kind of keep in mind here. But from that perspective, that also kind of covers it up here. Now, in terms of the power and performance, the iPhone 14 Plus, like I said before, is giving you that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM. With the iPhone 14 Pro, it's giving you that Apple A16 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM. So the thing I can tell you about this particular phone from the performance side here too, is that for one, like I said before, you're going to be getting very good performing phones from both of these. It's not like one of these devices is going to be giving you like a terrible experience. That is not the case at all. I like both these phones a lot. And definitely from the performance side, you're going to be getting really decent performance phones from both of these. The 14 Pro should theoretically be giving you an overall better performing device. And the reason for this is because that particular phone is going to be giving you the newer chipset. So because of that, that phone theoretically should be giving you the better performance between these two. But I would still say the iPhone 14 Plus is still very, very decent when it kind of comes down to it. I will say that the biggest advantage for the 14 Plus is its size and its battery life. The 14 Plus has a 4,323 mAh battery inside. That's a very big size battery compared to the 3,200 mAh battery inside of the iPhone 14 Pro. I will still say that the 14 Pro gave me very good battery life for the most part whenever I was messing around with it, but definitely when it comes down to it, the 14 Plus wins in the battery life perspective. So what phone should you buy? I will tell you in my personal opinion, I definitely do think a phone like the iPhone 14 Pro is the better one for probably every single person out there. Whenever I'm going through and getting a certain device, I'm telling you, I think the iPhone 14 Pro is the one that's probably going to be the better one, probably for the average person. That's the phone that's going to be giving you a better experience. It's going to be giving you a better display, better performance. Basically, every single thing across the board is probably going to be better on that particular device. The 14 Plus, like the main advantage for that phone, is the fact that it's available brand new, it's a bigger phone, and it's giving you better battery life. Otherwise, the 14 Pro is going to be the better one. I'd recommend every single person to go ahead and buy. So that pretty much covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.